College football playoff national championship between Indiana and the University of Miami should be an exciting game. It pits two of the best teams in the nation against each other.
Two teams that have both benefited significantly from deep-pocketed boosters in this new era of paid college athletes. The 7 News I-Team's John Barr has been looking into how some lawmakers would like to place limits on the millions flowing into college athletic programs.
It's the feel-good story of this college football season. The Indiana Hoosiers, with their old-school coach Curt Cignetti and Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza, playing the private school powerhouse University of Miami for the national championship. Less talked about is the fact that Indiana went from spending roughly $24 million on football in 2019 to more than $61 million last year.
Where the money is football, and it's a zero-sum game.
Troubled by the spending wars in college football, Washington State Congressman Michael Baumgartner introduced the PROTECT Act, a bill that would ban private equity firms from investing in collegiate athletics.
If it just goes to a private equity model where it's just the big guys that get the funds, then you're going to see the little guys either have to split off or not be able to keep up.
One could argue that's already happening. A Senate report released last September revealed the revenue gap between smaller college athletic programs in the Group of Five conferences and larger Power Five schools like Indiana and Miami grew from $6 million per school in 2002 to more than $43 million by 2023.
What is the effect of that widening revenue gap?
Fans just want their team to have a chance. It would be similar to how much would people enjoy the NFL if the NFC East had a 3 times salary cap than the AFC West? Eventually the AFC West teams would say, what are we doing here? We can't compete at this level, and fan enjoyment would go down overall.
They all want more money, and they all want more money because they want to be able to get the next best quarterback. And that's never going to stop.
Gabe Feldman directs the sports law program at Tulane University and is a legal analyst for the NFL Network.
So I don't think the gap is as dangerous as just the sheer number. Do we really want schools spending this much money to try to put together a football team for 1 year?
Even resource-rich schools like Virginia and Maryland could fall behind, the Senate report warns. That's because revenue sharing, in some cases at the college level, is based on TV ratings. For instance, schools like Florida State and Clemson, which had many of the most watched games during a recent season, got a bigger slice of the TV revenue pie from their conference. Virginia that year had 0 games in the top 100, and Maryland only had 2 top-rated games.
So if we see this trend continue where money is divided based on TV ratings, where does that leave the Marylands and Virginias of the world?
The data is pretty clear which schools drive the greatest ratings. And with all due respect to Maryland and Virginia and lots of other schools in the country, it's not them.
This really was about where is power going to be consolidated.
Last month, Massachusetts Representative Lori Trahan introduced the College Athletics Reform Act, which includes a more balanced distribution of TV revenue between schools.
If we're going to make college athletics more sustainable, more enduring for more people, then we have to really reform and modernize the Sports Broadcasting Act so that more schools can pool their media revenue.
Trahan, a former Division I volleyball player at Georgetown, understands the impact of college sports and wants to make sure those opportunities aren't lost for athletes at smaller schools.
I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. When I would talk to my parents about where I wanted to go to school, it was a stressful conversation because we couldn't afford it. It changed the trajectory of my life. It allowed me to go to the school of my dreams and continue playing volleyball, which is a sport I love.
At a time when colleges are awash in cash and athletes are benefiting like never before, there are actually fewer opportunities to compete. Since May 2024, according to the Senate report, 41 Division I programs have been cut in sports like track and field and volleyball.
We don't want to see programs being cut for Olympic athletes, for small to mid-sized schools, for for women's programs. If anything, we should be talking about the growth of sports.
Just this summer, we had cuts to the track and field program at Washington State University, a very proud program, a national championship program, many Olympic athletes. And now the sons and daughters that graduate from high school in Washington State have less opportunity to compete at the intercollegiate level. So that's the wrong direction in college sports.
So if we go down this road where private equity is heavily involved in collegiate sport, do you think it will mean the death of Olympic sports at the collegiate level?
Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. But if all the investment return is around football, universities will put more and more money into football at the expense of other sports.
Last month, the University of Utah became the first college to strike a deal with a private equity firm worth a reported $500 million. Now, that deal essentially involves selling a stake in a public college's athletic program to private investors. Right now, universities enjoy tax-exempt status, but Congressman Baumgartner says Congress and the IRS may have to reconsider that. As he put it in a social media post, if you want to act like a non-public entity, you'd better be ready to be treated like one. Scott and Michelle.
And John, you mentioned how schools like Maryland and Virginia could be on the short end of the future of TV revenue deals. What's at stake here?
Well, what's at stake, simply put, is millions of dollars. We showed you that table in our piece. In the ACC, Florida State and Clemson topped the list of the most watched teams. That's from a TV rating standpoint. Virginia, Virginia Tech, and the ACC, Virginia had 0 games in the top 100 most watched games. Virginia Tech just had 2. Okay, so that latest TV deal was based on eyeballs. And the concern is that that kind of thinking could spread over to the Big Ten. Right now, they distribute the money evenly, but you have the Ohio States and Michigans of the world. They get the most highest rated games. Look at Maryland, only 2 games. Now, this is from the 2023-2024 television year, but the trend is not Maryland's friend. So those teams that are on the lower tier of conferences risk losing out on that revenue pie.